Oil portraits of dignitaries and ancient politicians had been hung in a boastful collection on the encircling walls. A burgundy dark enough to impact arrogance to the unsure, and confidence to those of likened wills. The marble pillars and brass railings emitting an astounding gleam from all sides, and Stuart felt assured to be in the proper place. It'd only take him a few minutes to find it. Two others were waiting, another man and a woman, sitting on oaken chairs with cushioned seats. The woman's blonde hair reminded him of wheat, her face evoking the sun rising over the fields. She didn't say anything to him, but she gleamed to be gouging his ability, his deftness, grinning slightly with her piercing green eyes. The man, however, arose from the chair and held out his hand, a large fellow with a full beard, of apparent Latin American heritage, perhaps Liberian. "Welcome, Mr. Unitas," he said vestedly. "We'll be with you in just a moment. Sarah here has her appointment postponed for over an hour." "Oh," Stuart replied. The man nodded, adjusting his charcoal grey knit sweater vest, and gazed regretfully upon the woman, evidently another recruit seeking entry into the prestigious club. "I'm afraid you'll have to stand until it's time for her to go in." At the same moment, a black woman in a black dress opened the large metal doors at the back of the hall, exchanging a brief communicative look with the man in the vest. He turned to smile at Stuart, his face showing not a hint of blush, and soon the engagement ensued. Stuart found himself awkwardly sitting in the second chair, still warm from the hour's delay. "Must be pretty busy this time of year, eh?" Stuart asked the man, who had yet to retake the seat. The presumptive member of the Bay Area Betterment and Health Society again confirmed, and turned to select one of the pamphlets piled upon an end table of minuscule height. He handed one to Stuart. It was a single-folded page on thick glossy paper, showing a picture of the Golden Gate Park, and what seemed to be the large group photograph of a club gathering. Stuart thanked him for the informative material, though he had already been well versed regarding the scientific organization, from its 400-year history to speculation upon its upcoming plans and charity work. "Oh, that sounds swell," he mimicked eagerly, affecting himself to be naively unaware rather than firmly convinced of his own indubitable qualifications. He had heard online, and more helpfully, from a friend he knew on a forum, the club only spoke in official terms behind closed doors to facilitate for its members more liberated discussion. Great intellectuals had been initiated, and great intellectuals had been made. It said so in the pamphlet. Laughter came from the closed door, and Stuart tried not to think of how it would be very nice if Sarah, the girl before him, would also be admitted, so he could get to know her more, as if getting accepted would need more benefits to persuade. To peak. This was the place to be, said them all. What one must do in order to become a full-fledged leader of progressive society, and Stuart had always wanted to be a vampire. He scanned over the paper, and even the alluring language came off to him as exclusive. Stuart could not hold back his smile any longer, and the other man noticed. "I've actually read your file, my good man," he said, stroking his thick, hairy chin. Stuart awaited the completed placation, and once they had met eyes, the club member continued by whispering, bending his head closer to them. "I think we would be fools to not let you in." His heart kicked and his fist clenched in excitement. Stuart's smile grew, showing brightened teeth, and he could only mutter, "Thank you. I am a big admirer of what you do here." "Is that so?" asked the man, finding a kindred spirit. "Yes," Stuart answered. "I think this is exactly where I want to take my skills. I'm looking forward to seeing how I can help and contribute to the club's furthering success." The older man nodded, smiling also. "We'll see what we can do with you." Thoughts of the future flowed through Stuart's field of vision, unable to be contained. The high-class society, a company of gentlemen and finest edge of female colleagues, using advanced techniques to extract untarnished hemoglobin and innumerable additional nutrients, which had been enabling their superior race to thrive without the brutal need for harvesting, enslaving, or killing anyone, or anything, not even pigs. Stuart knew all this, and he knew he belonged here, in this association of immortals moving the world forward, especially if people like Sarah would be among them, and he withheld the rushing desire to envision her transform, unleash beyond the standards of commonplace beauty. It would be truly empowering to finally live and work as he wanted, and here was the goal at last. The door opened and the secretary kindly said his name. "Mr. Unitas, they'll see you now." His heart quickened, perhaps for the last time as a feeble primate, and the man in the vest wished him good luck, while Stuart walked to the door, buttoning the top of his coat. "Was sorry to make you wait," she noted effectively. The secretary, upon closer vicinity, was also an ostensible initiate. The woman showed signs almost instantaneously, and more dramatically than the men. According to his research, Stuart worried his new appearance would be overshadowed by those of his fellow neonates. It could take decades before the distinction of his vampiric training could be betrayed by looks alone, but he marched on nonetheless. "Right this way," she said, smirking, and Stuart followed her to a set of double doors, which he had hardly saw open before he realized he was inside the room. Against the opposite wall sat 4 elders in shining judicial robes, behind a normal white plastic table. Stuart made sure to catch each of their gazes once the doors had been closed behind him, but there was a 5th individual standing next to the door, and a 6th. Stuart's pulse fluttered once he recognized the golden grain hair now bolstering the pale mystique of her form and face alike. The green eyes sank into him, as if they were aimed and fired. The other member stood well higher than the average man, meaning he must have been a guard or security worker of some kind. But Stuart didn't know why Sarah remained in the room when her interview had hardly preceded this. "Welcome, Mr. Unitas," said one of the elders, one of the 3 balding men with stonework cheeks and cropped hair of glistening pearly silver. He smiled magnanimously, but Stuart felt his voice carry with it no trace of impression. "We're sorry," the speaker continued, "but we are afraid we cannot offer you a position within our organization at this time." When Stuart had just begun reeling, he noticed the guard and Sarah both approaching from behind, from opposite sides, and before he could make his case, the larger man's grip had smothered his mouth. Quelling all protest, and the youngest member of the Bay Area Betterment and Health Society revealed freshly protruded canine teeth before jabbing them into Stuart's neck, playfully pausing while their eyes were partially locked, decisive jowls vicing quivering flesh. She pulled back sharply, and his liveliness gushed away from her, to drink, to serve, as an irrefutable pledge of loyalty. As she sucked from the struggling neck, the others in the room cheered and clapped, remembering the blissful intensity of their own first kills. The lone matron of the panel reached for the appropriate ink stamp and markedly punched it upon the girl's papers, printing sternly in bold crimson letters, "Admission granted." Well, that was admission granted, and holy shit. It was a bit of a harder read, not gonna lie. So the creepypasta itself starts kind of like midway through, and that kind of threw me off. It just starts with like the oil portrait describing the room. It's not, I don't know, it just doesn't feel done right to me. But going down further through it, we have a secret organization, which you end up getting hints of vampiric sort of elements to it, or even zombie or cannibalistic, I guess. And you're following this guy named Stuart, who's trying to get into it. And then right at the end you have that twist of he was basically the bait for this Sarah chick's first kill, as she must have gotten into the cult, I guess you can say. Honestly, pretty cool twist, not gonna lie, that was pretty good. But yeah, some of the wording and how it started didn't really make sense and sort of threw me off a little bit. But other than that, it was pretty good. Had a really good twist at the end. I actually like that, how it turns out the person that you're following isn't even like the character that you're supposed to be paying attention to. So yeah, let me know what you thought of that in the comments below. If you liked it, leave a like. If you dislike it, dislike it. Subscribe to support this channel, and if you do, hit that bell to get notified. I upload every Sunday and sometimes throughout the week. You can also join my Discord. The link to do so is in the description below. It's free. You can talk to me, many others, and hope to see you in there. You can also share this video around to give your friends a scare. And as always, thank you so much.